Errors were made in the hours following King Viserys' death.
The war will be fought. Many will die, and the victor will eventually ascend the throne.
There's a war between kin. There is no war so hateful to the gods. And no war so bloody as a war between dragons.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Happy House of the Dragon Day. They dropped a brand new House of the Dragon Season 2 trailer. There's a bunch of Easter eggs here, a bunch of chaos. It's not the entire season, but it is a lot of the season. Most of the big battle footage seems like it's only up to like the halfway point through the season, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, of course I'll be doing episode videos for everything just like I did for Season 1 for the main show, so be sure to subscribe to get everything. But obviously the important stuff first. It says they're dropping the season during summer next year, 2024. That probably means somewhere in June or July. Just starting at the beginning of the trailer footage, working our way through shot by shot, talking about Easter eggs, WTF moments, and there are many, many WTF moments. Some of them are a little bit easier to identify than others. They start with Otto Hightower's voiceover talking about the errors, quote-unquote, in the hours following King Viserys' death with Rhaenyra on Dragonstone looking out over the bay. She's looking out over Storm's End and House Baratheon like the actual keep because she's thinking about her son's death at the hands of Aemond and Vhagar. R.I.P. Lucerys. That's why she looks so haggard, because this seems like it's happening right after the moments of the ending of Season 1, Episode 10. I think they did say that Season 2 would begin moments after that. In Otto Hightower's voiceover is obviously just talking about what they did during the events of Episode 9, when right after King Viserys' death, they moved to lock all the blacks that were there in their rooms so that they couldn't do anything while they crowned Aegon II. It sounds like he's inside a hall talking to someone. Maybe he's talking to the blacks, maybe he's talking to Rhaenyra. Why else would he be apologizing to someone in a hall that way about them taking the Iron Throne from out under her feet? Then we actually see Aegon ascending to the Iron Throne wearing Aegon the Conqueror's crown. I think the men walking behind him in the green robes are just part of the Hightower's regular army. The people right behind him would be his Kingsguard. They've obviously changed the Kingsguard a little bit since he took the Iron Throne. Basically all meant to be people that support him, support the Greens. And remember, all the other lords and ladies, all the other parts of court here that are bowing to him as he takes the Iron Throne are people that they force to swear fealty to the Greens, otherwise they would have killed them. Then we see Daemon put on his trademark dragon armor heading into battle. Because of all the greenery, this could be in the Riverlands, it could be at Harrenhal, it could be somewhere else. It doesn't look like Dragonstone just because there's too much greenery outside the windows. Then we get the voiceover from Alicent talking to her father, Otto Hightower, saying the war will be fought with a picture of the Black's army preparing for battle here with all their tents. We see the Green Army. I'm not sure where they are in this moment exactly. This might be them marching on Duskendale. This might be before the sack of Duskendale. Things don't seem super crazy yet, like it seems pretty chill. Because of the muddy terrain here, I think this is Duskendale that they're about to sack. This beach here might be on Dragonstone. This might be them assembling the dragon seeds. This is probably Criston Cole beheading Lord Duskendale after the successful sack of Duskendale. He was a supporter of Rhaenyra and the Blacks. And also, zoom in and enhance, notice that he's wearing the chain of the Hand of the King, meaning that he's replaced Otto Hightower as Aegon's Hand of the King. A lot of the big battles that'll happen during Season 2 actually come after he's replaced Otto Hightower as Hand of the King. One of the reasons for that is because Aegon actually grew impatient thinking that Otto Hightower was making the wrong call, trying to bargain with Rhaenyra and find a less bloody resolution to their civil war. If you can believe it, Otto Hightower, of all people who was in favor of them usurping the Iron Throne from Rhaenyra, actually initially at the beginning of the season wanted to find a less bloody resolution to this problem. Criston Cole and Aegon, however, had a much, much different idea about how to take care of it. They wanted all-out war. That's why Criston Cole just seems so out for blood during all the parts of this trailer. So Aegon basically fires Otto Hightower, replaces him with Criston Cole, who advocates for the sack of Duskendale, then the battle at Rook's Rest, which is where all the big battle scenes come from during this trailer. We see Aegon sitting on the Iron Throne with Aegon the Conqueror's crown, and then Rhaenyra with her father Viserys' crown. This looks like potentially one of the dragon seeds. The white dragon would be Sea Smoke. This might be happening on Driftmark, which is where Sea Smoke has been resting since Laenor Velaryon disappeared. Most people thought that he died. That was part of the whole ruse. But one of the big things during Season 2 is that they're searching for the dragon seeds so that they can actually activate their unused dragons that all the blacks that Daemon and Rhaenyra control, Sea Smoke being one of them. This looks like the Green Army at the Battle of Rook's Rest, about to begin the battle. The actual battle is meant to take place around episode 4, like the middle of the season, basically. It'll be like their big WTF moment to cut the season in half. Then we get the voiceover from Princess Rhaenys, who's talking to Rhaenyra, talking about the Dance of the Dragons, basically. There's no war that's as hateful to the gods as one within the family, essentially. While they're in the map table room at Dragonstone looking out over their battle plans. We briefly see Corlys Velaryon. He only appears once in the trailer here, as far as I know. Not totally sure who Daemon is attacking here, who he's hacking away at. Then we get the shot of Aemond in the dark, in the Iron Throne room, staring at the empty Iron Throne. The whole thing about that, normally you would think, oh wait, is he trying to usurp the Iron Throne from his brother Aegon? The only thing about that is that you have to remember that Aemond, even though it seems like he covets his sister Helaena, actually has this very Ned Stark-like adherence to duty and honor. So even if he thinks that he would be better on the Iron Throne, he's not going to try and usurp his brother. He's still going to support the natural order as the Greens see it, which would be Aegon being the rightful heir, is the way that they see it. Maybe we'll see some conflict within him during the events of Season 2, Season 3. Like, the whole idea is that he feel like he'd be a better king than Aegon, but he's not going to try and take the Iron Throne from his brother. Remember, though, during the events of Season 1, when Aegon was like, I don't want it, like he pulled a Jon Snow on Aemond when Aemond was trying to drag him, kicking and screaming, to his coronation. He basically told Aemond, you take it, you take the Iron Throne. Notice they've placed the green banners behind it, too. This is meant to be the Greens banner for House Targaryen with the gold sigil on it. Then we get our first shot of the North in a long, long time. So this is probably on their way to House Stark. It could be on their way to the Wall. This might be the Starkmen. It could be the Night's Watch. We will see House Stark. We will see Winterfell. We'll see Cregan Stark. There's like a whole bloody civil war that House Stark fought internally with itself during the big time jump during the events of Season 1 that we'll get into during Season 2 at some point. That's like a whole other video that I could do. I actually did a video on Cregan Stark talking a little bit about that, so I'll post links for it in the description below. But essentially, Cregan Stark, House Stark become big supporters of Rhaenyra because he went through pretty much the same thing that just happened to Rhaenyra, or is in the middle of happening to Rhaenyra right now, with someone trying to take her throne from her. Another person within House Stark tried to take House Stark from Cregan Stark, who was the rightful heir. This looks like Alicent in what might be the Riverlands. There's a lot of chaos in the Riverlands during Season 2. Then we see Rhaenyra with Syrax on the beach, maybe Dragonstone, maybe Driftmark, with whoever seems like they wind up riding Sea Smoke. This might be one of the Hull brothers. They cast Adam Hull from the books and Alan Hull, who are going to be dragon seeds during Season 2. And neither one of them will be like a secret version of Laenor who's coming back pretending to be one of the Hull brothers. This is just a wide shot from the outside of King's Landing, showing you the Dragon Pit with the Red Keep. Obviously the Dragon Pit in center of frame because of all the dragons. A big part of Rhaenys' warning to Rhaenyra is about this civil war between the family with the dragons. Like, nothing is going to be as bad as this giant war we're going to fight and all the dragons and the chaos it's going to cause. This is actually Helaena in her mourning gown. That's why she's got the fabric over her face. I don't want to get too deep into this because this is after the events of Blood and Cheese. If you've read the books, you know what Blood and Cheese are. You know how crazy it's going to be. There are a couple Blood and Cheese moments here later in the trailer. That's basically going to be episode 1. Like, they will start the season with Blood and Cheese. When they dropped the official posters for Season 2, basically said blood for blood, an eye for an eye, a son for a son. This is the procession with the cart with their bodies being led through the streets of King's Landing while they're all in mourning. All these shots of them fighting in the woods, running through the woods on horseback, seem like they're from the battle at Rook's Rest. I think the person on horseback here might be Criston Cole. The fire burning the Greens siege weapon here would belong to Princess Rhaenys and her dragon Meraxes, who was the only dragon belonging to the Blacks fighting at Rook's Rest against Aegon, who was on Sunfire, and Aemond on Vhagar, who we see later in the trailer. So it's basically like 2 dragons against 1 during this battle. But part of the idea is that Princess Rhaenys was way more experienced on Dragonback, a way better fighter than both Aemond and Aegon. Then Princess Rhaenys reminding Rhaenyra, no war is bloody as a war between dragons, meaning that we're going to see actual dragons fighting during season 2. A lot of people have been waiting for that, like one of the promises of House of the Dragon, a bunch of dragons fighting each other in the air. It's going to be crazy. Not exactly sure what's going on here, but this is Princess Baela on her dragon Moondancer screaming. Also not totally sure what the chaos in King's Landing is going on here. This might be either the sack of King's Landing, or they might think that King's Landing is in danger of being sacked, and that's why Alicent is running around in chaos. The actual sack of King's Landing seems more like a season 3 kind of moment for House of the Dragon. Daemon seems like he's inside a cave, so this might be inside the Dragonmont on Dragonstone. Then as some of you probably guessed, this is Blood and Cheese in episode 1 grabbing Helaena Targaryen. Like I said, if you know, you know. Please don't post spoilers for Blood and Cheese in the comments below. It is going to be crazy. This is more of Criston Cole at the battle at Rook's Rest. This looks like the battle of the Cargill brothers. They might be at King's Landing here, not exactly sure which room they're in when this is happening. Part of the idea is that the Cargill twins are on opposite sides of the Dance of the Dragons, so they wind up battling each other. It leans very heavily into the metaphor of family against family, with the Targaryens, the Greens, and the Blacks going at each other. There are a couple of shots, Aemond on Vhagar, then immediately to Rhaenyra on Syrax, but here's the thing, that's not actually happening in the same moment, like they're not fighting each other on Dragonback, because, at least in the books, Rhaenyra never actually fights any of the other dragons when she's on Syrax. Maybe they've changed that for the TV show a little bit. It would be a big change from the books, but in the books, it was one of the big reasons why some of the small folk did not support Rhaenyra, because she didn't actually do any fighting on Syrax. A lot of people felt like she was forcing everyone else to fight her battles for her. She didn't actually fight in any of the battles herself. Aemond, however, fought a ton of battles on Vhagar. He loved that, which we see with him on Vhagar at the battle at Rook's Rest. Then we get the logo and a bunch of fire. So obviously there's a ton of crazy stuff going on in the trailer here. But like I said, it seems like most of this footage is from like the first half of the season. Maybe like a little bit from the second half of the season, but mostly the first half. It's just meant to be the teaser trailer. If there's any Easter eggs or references that you spotted in the trailer that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments, or any big questions you have about stuff that happens in the trailer. I will do more bonus videos as we get more footage and learn more about the actual season. Because it's Brazil Comic-Con CCXP, there are a bunch of other trailer videos that are dropping this weekend, so I'll do videos for them as fast as possible, like The Boys Season 4. Click here for all my other House of the Dragon Season 2 previews and teasers, and click here for that Game of Thrones Night of the Seven Kingdoms teaser trailer that they dropped. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.